You're welcome to the Nigerian Bossman, and it's a pleasure to have you here on my channel. And today, this Wednesday, the 6th of September 2023, has been a very interesting one. And many Nigerians have waited eagerly for today to hear the verdict on the presidential elections. And I'll say that it was a very grueling day for the litigants, the Nigerian citizens, the defendants, as well as the judiciary themselves. But I'll say that the outcome has been very disappointing in my opinion, because it was as if the judges were playing a script, and it was very obvious that they were so focused on vindicating Bola Ahmed Tinubu and vilifying Peter Obi and Abubakar Atiku. The petition of Peter Obi and the Labour Party challenging the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been thrown out. According to the judges, it lacked merit. The court said that there was no proof in the case of the drug issue, which was part of the point of Peter Obi and Atiku. The court, they say that there was no proof of conviction of Bola Ahmed Tinubu for drugs in the United States. According to them, the case of the civil forfeiture of $460,000 US dollars by Bola Ahmed Tinubu because of drug-related issues was said not to hold because he was not formally charged or convicted for drugs in the United States. And they also said that this was a matter that happened well before 10 years, more than 10 years before he ran for this particular election in question. In the case of the judgment for Shettima, I agreed with that, the judgment on behalf of Shettima, in the sense that according to them, Shettima did not intentionally intend to run for the Senate and as a vice presidential candidate at the same time. So they said that it was something that happened, if I may use the word, by happenstance, in the sense that he had collected the ticket to run for the Centura seat before he was now asked to run alongside Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So in their own judgment, they said that it was not intentional, and so he did not plan to do it side by side. So I agree with that. And you also know that the issue of the 25% in relation to the Federal Capital Territory was one of the key contentions, because according to the Constitution, as interpreted by even a former Attorney General of the Federation, that the FCT, that you must win 2/3 of the states, and then the FCT, and you must score at least 25% of votes in the FCT. According to the judges at the tribunal today, they did say that the 25% win required for FCT was not valid, and that the FCT residents did not have any special privileges as claimed by the petitioner. Also, on the issue of electronic transmission of results, the judges did say that the Independent Electoral Commission is, just like the name says, independent, and as such they can come up with solutions as they desire. And in this particular elections, it was not compulsory for them to transmit the results electronically. What their directives stated was that they will capture the data of the voters using the beavers and then with the same machine, transfer the results from the polling unit to the collation center. And so, but it was not compulsory for them to do that electronically. I think for this particular one, the judges have set Nigeria back another 50 years, because the so-called electoral reform, the electoral reformation of the Electoral Act reform, part of it was to checkmate this particular problem. Because the reason why the politicians in Nigeria do not want electronic transfer of results is because when they have to do this by hand, there will now be situations for manipulation or opportunities for manipulation, like we saw in this particular election. And it is surprising that as much as the judges talked about the fact that Peter Obi did not have enough evidence, I'm surprised that all the result slips or result sheets that were presented by Peter Obi from the different polling units, they were not, in my own opinion, considered, because we saw a lot of those sheets that were manipulated, where some of the results were TPEX, some were cancelled, and maybe Peter Obi's figures entered for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Those ones were not touched, or they basically were so focused on technicalities so as to get Bola Ahmed Tinubu off the hook. Some of the questions that came to my mind while watching this particular sitting today. The first one: why were the faces of the judges, why were their faces not visible as against common practice? Because throughout the proceedings, it was only when the judges were entering into the courtroom that we saw the face of the presiding judge. I think Saman is his name. But for the others, we could not see their faces. And the cameras were turned towards the court, the audience. Whereas the judges, their faces were not visible. Why was this so? I think because they have a guilty conscience. Because if indeed they were doing what was right, they would not be afraid to show their faces to the public. We saw the sitting in Kenya, and I'll say kudos to the Kenya Appeal Court, to Judge Kome. You did a very wonderful job. Everything was transparent. We saw the faces of the judges. We saw how the proceedings went. But these guys were hiding behind the camera. They were hiding behind the camera because of the illicit work they were doing. Because if what they were doing was true, they would have shown their faces and spoken without any kind of inhibition. But we did not see that. And then again, we also could see that the video evidence, all the paper evidence, it was as if that they were just meaningless to the court. In my own opinion, I'm not in the legal profession, but at least I do know that in many matters that have been decided, video evidence and other paper evidence have been taken into consideration. But in this case, that was not what these people did. And in cases of overvoting or the violence and clear rigging that took place, for example, in Rivers State, in Lagos State, and many other places, why were these not considered? The Bola Ahmed Tinubu might think that he has won this particular one. I know that they have been finding every way to legitimize his position as the so-called president of Nigeria. But that is his so-called election victory today at the court is just for them, for the Nigerians who truly voted and voted for Peter Obi massively. They know who the real winner is. You guys can try to legitimize it yourselves as much as possible. But in the face of Nigerians, in the face of the true Democrats of Nigeria, they know that this is just a charade. Because even the international observers who came to be part of these elections, it was obvious to them that the process of the collation of the results was horrible. And even in some places, again like Rivers, it was clear, open manipulation. And yet they are telling us that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has won this election. Well, the appeal court is still there. But I will not advise the Labour Party to go to the appeal court, because it is obvious, because like right from the beginning, their boast was go to the court. And as it is today, it is obvious that they already envisaged what was going to happen. But I want to, in all this, thank all Nigerians, those who have stood for what democracy truly means. This was the opportunity that Nigerians wanted to use to wrest political power from the charlatans and leeches that have bled Nigeria and compromised it and brought it to this sordid state that is in today. But sadly, what we desired did not happen. But I want to encourage you. You see, what they want is that they will so manipulate and frustrate Nigerians that, according to what one of them said, they'll be in power for 50 years. PDP said the same thing. But where are they today? Nigerians, I want to encourage you, for those of you who truly want a true democracy, not this kind of charade they are parading as democracy. For those of you who truly want genuine democracy as it's operated in many developed nations around the world, you must not give up in this fight. They might have won this battle, but they have not won the war. And I want to say that you must not, because of this, say you are not going to vote again. That is what they want. In the elections that's going to come at any level, go out and cast your vote. So, to all those who have stood with the Labour Party, I want to say, despite the manipulation of things today, I still want to say congratulations to you. The fight might have been won, but we must continue to stand to ensure that we have the kind of Nigeria that we desire. Before I close, I want to say a big congratulations to Natasha Akpoti. This is another very strong woman who have been very much oppressed in Kogi State. The state governor there have tried as much as possible to oppress this lady, even threatening her life. But she has stood consistently even until now. And finally, in the tribunal had now declared her as the winner of Kogi Central senatorial seat. And so, Natasha Akpoti, I want to say congratulations. And to all Nigerians, for those who are desiring true democracy again, let us continue to ensure that this fight for a truly democratic, transparent Nigeria, a Nigeria where politicians are accountable and they use our resources as they should, that we must continue to fight for such a Nigeria. I thank you all for watching this episode. Please let me have your comments, and if you like the video, go ahead and press that like button. And thank you for supporting the channel. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. May God bless you.